All right, welcome MUS 31A class, both sections 1 and section 2. Will be our remote lecture for I guess the Monday of week 6. I'm still in New Orleans, probably flying back now, and this will make up for the time. Now let's begin, just like any other class, with the warm-up. I hope you are feeling more confident about with your knowledge of the inner lives of the scales. Now that you've watched my little Secrets of the Scales video about exactly where the little tendencies are and things. It's a little bit of review, but a little bit more intensive than we had spoken briefly in class when we don't have as much time to discuss it. So let's begin by singing all of the 4 scales that we know in the following order. We'll start with major, we'll go to natural minor, to harmonic minor, and to melodic minor. All right, let me go get a pitch from the piano. And wherever you are, hopefully you're not in too public a place, please sing along. We're going to be doing a lot of singing and teeing in this remote lecture. If you want to do it, of course, in groups around a common computer, or if you have a way to broadcast this some way into a larger venue, by all means, go ahead and do so. All right, let's start with major. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. And this is YouTube, of course, so if you want to rewind that and sing that one again to warm up a little bit more, if you made a mistake or anything like that, by all means, pull that slider back and do it again. You can do that with everything that we do in this lecture. All right, let's go to natural minor. Remember what things need to be lowered to make it natural. 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, te, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. Harmonic minor mode. Remember what its particular idiosyncrasies are. 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, le, ti, do, ti, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do. All right. And now, melodic minor. Okay, remember, different ascending than it is descending. Let's try it. 2, 3, 4. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, te, le, sol, fa, mi, re, do. Good. So rewind this and sing this as many times as you need to feel confident about how these scales work. Okay, let's review, review a concept that we dealt with in last Monday's class, Monday of week 5. We introduced a new clef, you recall, and this was the movable C clef, and we saw it specifically in its iteration as the alto clef. Okay, so the alto clef. Just in review, remember, this notch here, wherever this notch, wherever the 2 ends meet in the middle, is, oops, that's a little confusing, excuse me, here is equivalent to middle C. It's equivalent to middle C. Your key signatures, the flats and sharps, are going to be slightly offset from what you already know, but the system is the same. If you see 2 flats, you know you are dealing with only one of 2 things. You're dealing with B flat major or G minor. Okay, and remember, this is just a clef like any other clef, just like the G clef or the treble clef or the F clef or the bass clef. They are all proportional. So regardless of where this is moved, if you can find do, the proportions are the same, just as any other key. So go ahead and get your Berkowitz book out, please, and open it to page 15. Open it to page 15. We're going to sing 3 examples in the alto clef. All right, number 51 on page 15. Page 15, near the bottom, number 51. This is an example in 2/4 time. It is in the key of E major. Okay, and this is a little bit of a broken full chord as far as the gesture is concerned. Also, there are dynamics here. Okay, there's a variation of dynamics. We have staccato, and then we have some legato tied together, then staccato, then legato, ending with a couple of staccato lines. So let's go slow and see if you can get the sight reading and also the articulations. Do is our first note. I'll give you two subdivided measures. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and do, sol, do, sol, do, sol, mi, re, mi, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, sol, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do, All right, let's go on to number 52, which is in the same key, E major, but this time in 3/4 time, all of kind of a legato smooth articulation, but with two dynamic levels, mezzo forte and piano. Let's endeavor to do that. Two measures in subdivided time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. Do, sol, mi, do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, mi, sol, sol, mi, re, do. Good. Turn the page to page 16. Let's do one more. Number 53, largo. You see 4 flats in the key signature. See that the first and the last note, though in different octaves, are A flat. So we are in the key of A flat major. Do, do. It's a little kind of in an odd range. You might have to go either really high or really low. I'll go low for this time, but of course, always take the range that is most comfortable for you. Do. Get a little bit of a broken chord here at the beginning. 1, I'll give you one measure, very slow. 1 and 2 and 3. Do, sol, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, ti, do, mi, sol, sol, do, sol, mi, fa, sol, la, sol, mi, fa, re, do. Good. All right. So that'll conclude the singing that we're going to do for this time. Now, I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit and introduce a rhythmic concept. We have not finished the chapter of rhythm in the Kazez book that we've been on, although we are very near the end of it. We're doing our ensemble and our two-hand exercises in simple meter. So I want to review what simple meter is to contrast with compound meter, which is the next chapter. We're going to get into it a little bit early, do a couple exercises, so you can have it in mind. Simple meter is simple because of the division of the beat. Okay, regardless of our time signature, we'll just say 2/4 for instance. Here's a measure of 2/4 time with 2 pulses. Okay, and 2/4 time means just that there are 2 beats in the measure, and the beat is the quarter note. So this illustrates. When you divide such a meter, you divide the beats in half. Okay, you can do it this way or you can do it that way. Okay, so you divide them in half, or you divide them in things that are divisible by 2 or multiples of 2. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and, okay, and you can further divide them to quadruple subdivision, or excuse me, double subdivision, by dividing them in half again. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and okay, that is simple meter. Let me contrast by introducing you to the concept of compound meter. Compound meter runs by another set of rules. Okay. But it's a set of rules that is easy to remember, and they are similar to the rules that govern simple meter. Okay. They're just different ones. One of the primary compound meters that we encounter is 6/8. Now, if you looked at that and say, well, it doesn't seem to be necessarily compound. The 6 means there are 6 beats in the measure. The 8 means that that the 8th note is the thing that receives the beat. And that is true. If you do 6/8 meter in 6, then it is actually a simple meter. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and. And we've encountered that already in our chapter. We've encountered 1 or 2 6/4 measures. And that's exactly what that means. But in practice, 6/8 is almost always, unless it's in an extremely slow tempo, is almost always done in 2. Almost always done in 2. So, in a compound 6/8 meter, this is a compound duple meter because it is done in 2 beats. And the unit of the beat is the dotted quarter note. So, if we were just to do this, repeating over and over, it would sound exactly like the 2/4 bar. T, 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 T. The only difference is this is the unit of the beat, whereas before only the quarter note was the unit of the beat. The difference is how the beat is subdivided in the first subdivision level. Okay? Not double subdivision, but in single subdivision, the beat is not divided into 2, it is divided into 3. Okay, so how you subdivide at the first level of subdivision, which is all we're going to deal with right now. In the first level of subdivision, it's 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and so on. And we can have more meters. 9/8. 9/8 would just be like 3/4, 3 beats to the measure, but each of the beats divided compoundly into 3. Okay. What makes this potentially challenging is looking at a dotted quarter note and realizing that it doesn't get 1.5 beats, that it gets 2 beats. Another thing that can be difficult is in 6/8, if we were to put one measure, to put one note that counts as the whole measure, it would be a dotted half note. It doesn't get 3 beats. In this case, it gets 2. Okay, so you have to get used to seeing a new system rather than hearing the new system necessarily. So let's open up our Kazez books and see what we can see. Open up your Kazez book, please, to page 31. Page 31 in the Kazez. Number 35. All right. See the 6/8, and we have our running dotted quarter notes. So let's T this together. I'll give you 2 measures. 1, 2, 1, 2. T, 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 T. Easy enough. Again, if you want to do that again, just pull the slider back and we can do it again. Let's do number 36. Remember, this is 12/8. 12/8, so it's like 4/4 time. Has 4 beats in it, but they are compound beats. In this case, it's not going to feel any differently, other than the fact that in number 36, where it's tied together and where you have the dotted half notes, those will receive 2 beats, not the 3 that you expect. Let's try it. One measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. T, 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 T. All right, that's all there is to it. Now let's deal with the single subdivision. Skip ahead just a little bit to the next page, 32, but let's go down to the bottom. Okay, bottom to number 40. Okay, notice we are dealing now at the level of the single subdivision. They give you a little speech cue to say Beethoven, Beethoven. Don't worry about it. Just use the T's that we've been using. Okay, so you're going to need to subdivide in compound. Okay, you're going to need to subdivide in your mind in compound meter. I will give you two measures subdivided in 6/8 so you can feel it. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and T, 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 T. T, 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 T. All right, let's do just one more. Page 33, number 41. We're in 12/8 time, so it is a 4-beat measure, compound. And it has different dynamics and it has some rests in it. So you might want to try this a couple of times. Watch out for the tie across the bar line, right at the break, at the end of the first line, beginning of the second line. And please observe the dynamics as much as you can. I'll give you one subdivided measure and we'll be in. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and T, 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 T. T, 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 T. T, 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 T. T, 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 T. T, 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 T. T, T, T. T, 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 T. All right, we're going to stop there at the single subdivision. I'll worry about the double subdivision because it needs a little bit of explaining when we meet together next week. Oh, a little note about your midterm exam. You're probably have already received a message on iLearn from me, but I'll make sure we hit it again here. Your midterm exam will be week 7, Monday. So the week I come back from New Orleans next week, will it be week 6? We'll have our first class back together on the Wednesday of that week. I'll prepare you for what's going to be on the exam, which will be intervals, just like the intervals that you do on the Goodyear.com website. Chords, just like you do there. Scales, just like you do there. And there'll be a little bit of 1 or 2 examples of melodic dictation. Okay, similar to what you've been doing in your systematic dictation assignments on my YouTube channel. Okay, so it's going to be basically going to be all stuff that we've done before. I don't want you to freak out about it. It's just so I can see how you're doing at an individual level. If you look at the grading rubric in the class syllabus, you'll know that the exam is not a very large percentage of your grade. I want you to be prepared, of course, but we're just going to be testing you on stuff that we've been working on all quarter so far. So it's going to be week 7. It's not really going to be a midterm anymore. It's going to be kind of a 2/3 term, but that's coming up. All right? Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys Wednesday of week 6. We'll see you when I get back.